Hey guys, I hope you're all having a great day, and today I'm gonna be doing my January and February wrap-up because I didn't do one in January. I wasn't reading that much. I only read 5 books in 2 months, so yeah. The first 2 books that I read are the only ones that I still have. Unfortunately, the other ones that I read were borrowed from my library at college, so I don't have them, and they're French books, so we'll get to that later. First 2 books that I read are the 2 first books in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. So I have The Lightning Thief and The Sea of Monsters. I'm currently reading The Titan's Curse, I believe. Well, the 3rd book. So for those who don't know what this is about, it's about this young boy named Percy Jackson, who finds out that he's a demigod from, well, his mother and his father is the god of the sea. So his name is Poseidon. Yes. And unfortunately, someone has stolen Zeus's light bolts. So everybody thinks that it's him just because he's the son of Poseidon. I really didn't get that part correctly, just because Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon are brothers, and they vowed to never have children because the children, they would be like way too powerful, and they just decided not to have children. But each one of them, no. Zeus and Poseidon had one child. And so for some reason they believe that it's his child that has stolen the bolts, and so he is pursued by everybody. I guess he's pursued by monsters, by demons, evil people, and he has until the summer solstice to find back the bolt. I'm not gonna talk about the 2nd book because it reveals some stuff about the 1st book, so I'm just gonna say that in this one he is looking for the Sea of Monsters. It's included in the title, so I guess you would already know that. The first time I read this book, I didn't enjoy it because I had just seen the movie and I was really like, ugh, boring. But I reread it and now I really enjoy it, and I was really surprised of how much they left off from the movie. I was like, what? There's like so many things happening in there that are not, totally not in the book, in the movie, sorry. And I'm just like, well, you cut off some pretty big parts that were important and you just summed it up in like 5 minutes in the movie. Why? And I gave both these books 4 out of 5 stars. Not 5 because 5 is really exceptional for me, but it is a really good series, and I really like to read them when I don't want to think about anything. I just want to put myself into the story without thinking too much about it, so that's good. I'm not going to talk about too much detail about the 3-4 other books, just because they're French, so probably no one cares. But I'm just gonna say that what they are. So I read Hiroshima by Véronique Grenier. I read N'entre pas dans mon âme avec tes chaussures by Natasha Fontaine. And I read L'impureté by Larry Tremblay. So these 3 books were in French. The second one I named was a poem, a book of poems. I don't know how you say that in English. The first book was really interesting. It's about this deranged, well, not deranged, but like dysfunctional couple that has, they're not working out what this is, and they have a lot of difficulties with their couple in general, and everything just up in flames, and the girl is trying to do stuff, but the guy, it's really complicated. I read it and I was like, wow, this is big shit going on, and I just was like, wow, this is big stuff. The book of poems didn't enjoy as much as I thought I would. I have a lot of difficulty to understand and to really get myself into a poem, just because sometimes it's really hard to understand in general. So I was like, well, it was good. It had kind of a story in it, but most of the things they were saying was not clear. And the last book I read was L'Impureté by Larry Tremblay. It was really complicated. I really didn't get it. It's the story about this writer who dies, and her husband is interviewed by this journalist to talk about his wife's life, because she was going to release a new book and now she died, and the book is still going to be released but not yet, so they want to interview him before the release of the new book. And it's really complicated, and the main character is so dislikable, and he is really annoying, and I really had a lot of difficulties to read the book just because I was like, he annoys me so much. I don't want to read about him doing stuff. I don't care. I wanted to know more about the other characters, but him, not so much. So that was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week with a new video. Goodbye.